Hello everyone, right now I'm in Dahlonega city, Georgia to participate in a 6-gap century race. Just this morning the hurricane Helena has been passing nearby. It's been rainy for a few days in a row, but look at this now. The weather is awesome, it's finally sunny. Well, sometimes I've been waiting for this moment for a couple of months, but as usual the final preparations have been made in a last moment. Then it took me a few hours to figure out how to pack my bicycle into the bike case. The weather in Miami next morning been crazy due to the hurricane. Luckily our flight wasn't cancelled and we made it on time to the airport. As you already know, the weather been stuck in Atlanta, so we made our way to Dahlonega. My buddy Ferch rented a house just 1 mile from the start line. And it's so cool and cozy house with a garden, pool and jacuzzi. Hey guys, say hi!
We survived the hurricane.
Well, everything is exciting for me here in Dahlonega compared to Miami. It's quiet here and relaxing, completely different life. We already been in the city center, visited local tea store, sweetness shop and souvenir store. It was just a cool experience. Okay, long story short, we're here to ride the bikes. Here is Katie and Fercho. We are going for a short ride. Today is the Friday, so we have 2 days of riding. The race is on Sunday. Yeah, here's the garage with a billiard, ping pong table, here's the bikes. Here is my bike, not the lightest one, not the climbing bike, but good enough, it is what it is. Okay, we're going for a ride, finally, we've been waiting for this moment the whole day.
Yeah, I know, this race was last year, I just took a year-long break. Anyway, let's continue.
Oh my god, it feels so good. The weather is like 70 degrees, a little bit chilly. I'm not used to the cold weather to be honest, but it's okay. We're just chilling, going for a short like 30-40 miles ride. So we've been riding and met few guys from Miami. Here they are. Hello there, hello guys, here we go.
It was such a blast meeting the guys from Miami. We ended up riding together for a bit, chatting, laughing, just soaking up the prairie's energy. It's always cool how cycling brings people together like that. As we made our way up one of the climbs, we started seeing more and more riders. Turns out we were already on one of the actual gaps, one of the 6 we will be dealing with on a race day. And yeah, they're no joke. Those climbs are long, steep and absolutely demanding. It was a little cold for my Miami blood, anything under 70 degrees feels like winter to me. But I didn't care, I had almost forgotten what it feels like to ride in real mountains. Everything in Miami is as flat as a pancake, so being out here in Georgia mountains, it feels like a different world. And yeah, it's beautiful out here. Then came the descent, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous. I'm not used to fast downhills, especially not with the roads still a bit wet. So yeah, I was braking way more than I probably needed to. But even with all that, the feeling of flying down those curves at speed, that's pure adrenaline. I didn't realize how much I missed that rush. It's one of those things that reminds you why you love riding in the mountains. Scary but so addicting.
Yesterday we did 35 miles, 3,500 feet of elevation, and to be honest, I was a little scared on the downhill, not because of the high speed, but because of the wet roads, bunch of debris on it, and fallen leaves. I want to make a quick review of my bicycle. So, that's my bike, Pinarello F10, rim brake, that's probably the only rim brake bicycle here in the garage, but nothing wrong with the rim brake. It works just fine if you have a good braking pad. NV carbon wheels, 60 millimeters, not the best for the uphill. SRAM red ETAP 11 speed, 5339 in the front, and cassette 1125. Again, not the best for the uphill. But my goal here is to suffer. And I'm gonna suffer on this bicycle a lot.
Later that day we went to the local school where the race would start the next morning. There were lots of riders fixing their bikes and getting ready. There were many tents with the bike brands, gear and clothes. It was nice to see some brands I knew and also some new things I hadn't seen before. The place felt busy and excited, like everyone was getting ready for the race.
So this place next to the local school is gonna be like an official start for us tomorrow. We're gonna meet with the other guys and we'll go for a chill ride. That's the plan for today, just to enjoy.
Once we hit the climb, the weather really started to change. I already knew it would be colder today, so I had a base layer on from the start. The higher we went, the more fog rolled in. The road got wet and at some point visibility was almost zero. We started pushing a bit harder, just enough to warm up and get the legs working. Nothing crazy, but enough to feel that pre-race tension. It was a good reminder of what we would be facing tomorrow.
Well, it is what it is. It's raining. We're again on a woody gap. The visibility is zero, so we probably will go back on a car. We're waiting for Fercho's girlfriend. She will pick up us. We'll go home. Damn, the weather is stuck. But I hope there will be no rain for tomorrow. Mountains.
I have probably never been so happy to see a car. I was completely wet and freezing in the back seat, just trying to warm up. Big thanks to Fernando's girlfriend for picking us up. She really saved the day. Riding downhill in this weather would have been way too risky. Wet roads and almost no visibility. Yeah, survival first. And just like that, it was Sunday, race day.
Alright, it's a race day. 7:24, we're starting in 5 minutes. It is cold outside, 60 degrees. I probably wouldn't be able to talk to camera too much, maybe at all. Yeah, wish me luck.
The race had finally started and I was super excited to get going. What really surprised me was how many cyclists were at the start line, around 1500 riders. Most of them were doing the full 6 gap ride, just like me. There was also an option to do just 3 gaps, which is basically half the distance. I added some data on the screen: power, heart rate, speed and cadence on the left side, and elevation, gradient and distance on the right. I decided to stay in a group for a while, just follow the wheels to see how the race would unfold. It was still cold, around 60 degrees and wet, so I wore a long sleeve jersey on top. But honestly, riding with a big group on those beautiful roads, it was a blast. Cold or not, it definitely warmed me up, at least mentally. About 11 miles into the race we took a turn and the road pitched up to around 10%. I had to push pretty hard just to stay with the group and not to lose too many wheels. The gradient dropped a bit to around 5%, but still, it was a tough effort, especially knowing that there was still 100 miles and a bunch of long climbs ahead. On a downhill I was a little nervous, like I expected. I slowed down a lot and everyone was just flying past me. I still tried to hold onto some wheels where I could, but yeah, Descending is not really my strength. And here comes the first real gap. The climb was long and steady, around 8% on average. It was also pretty cold up in the mountains, but honestly didn't feel it at all. I was focused on catching the guys who passed me on a downhill. I was pushing some serious power between 260 and 300 watts, which is around my FTP for a 20-minute effort. At the time my weight was around 59 kilos or 130 pounds, so yeah, my legs were feeling it. I managed to close the gap, but that's when I started to realize my plan to suffer was already happening. I didn't have enough gears, so I couldn't really ride at optimal cadence. No choice but to grind. The first gap was finally behind me, and now it's time for the downhill. You can see the guys in front of me just flying, but I couldn't keep up with that speed. On the next small hills I managed to catch up, but it took more power, and I knew that effort was going to cost me later in a race. I also started having some issues with my front derailleur. The chain kept dropping almost every time I shifted between the front chain rings. Honestly, my race preparation wasn't great. I already knew I didn't have enough gears and that I was going to suffer, but I didn't expect my front derailleur to be out of adjustment too. Then again, I never really use it back in Miami. It's so flat there, I just never had to touch it at all. This was a nice moment, riding all together with a big group, but honestly, I started feeling a little out of my league. Everyone around me had these super modern bikes, and mine suddenly felt very basic. Just as I started to settle in, the next brutal uphill hit us out of nowhere. I tried to shift my front gear and of course the chain dropped. I quickly get off the bike and put it back on, but even those few seconds were enough to put me behind. I had to start chasing hard to close the gap. I believe that group was part of the race leaders, so I really wanted to stay with them. Somehow I made it back, small win, but just then the climb got even worse. Check out the gradient on the screen, it spikes to 20, even 24%. The only way I could keep moving was to stand up on the pedals. Riding seated at 50 RPM just was not the option anymore. Oh my god, I was suffering. Of course, after every climb, the downhill comes next, and with it a chance to recover a little. But the story repeated itself. I just didn't feel confident enough, not in my skills, not on my bike, and not with my tires. I was using 25C Continental GP5000s, and honestly, I would have preferred at least 28C. That's probably the bare minimum by today's road bike standards. So I had to say goodbye to the group again and just descend at my own pace. The speed was still high, I was hitting 50 miles per hour at times, which is insanely fast. A little while later, another group caught up to me. I was honestly happy to have someone to ride with again. By that point, we had already done around 50 miles, almost halfway. We kept going for a while until we reached the next uphill. I was already feeling pretty tired at that point, and I was almost out of water. And then, perfect timing, a truck passed me and I spotted a familiar face inside. It was Fernando. Turns out he had a mechanical issue and had to abandon the race. But he still was out there trying to help. He refilled my bottles and I gave him my long sleeve jersey, getting lighter for the next uphills. The next part of the race was pure survival. I was riding alone and just keeping my own pace. From time to time I overtook a few riders, sometimes someone passed me, mostly on the downhills. I also started seeing people who were doing the shorter version of the race, the 3 gap. They started later, but we shared some of the same roads. All in all, it was pretty straightforward, just keep pedaling, manage the effort and enjoy the views. I never stopped, not even once, even though I drank a lot of water and ate a bunch of energy gels along the way. At some point I reached the top of Woody Gap, the final climb of the day. We had been there earlier in the previous days, so seeing it again gave me a little motivation and a second breath. I knew the end was near. It was around 86 miles at that point and I started my final descent. I kept it safe, braking a lot and taking corners carefully. At that stage, I just wanted to finish and get home in one piece. Not far from the finish, a few guys caught up to me, and honestly, I was so happy to ride with someone again. One of them even shared a bottle of Coke with me, and I'm super thankful for that. I was completely out of water and gels and felt totally exhausted. We took turns pulling and made it to the finish line together.
Could you tell something to camera, your experience? How was your race, kid?
Freaking wrecked. Survived though, luckily. Man, it was brutal. Yeah, going too fast around turns, wet roads, people in the road. There was like 5 wrecks and they were at the same turn,
Oh my
so
God.
it's insane. I got lucky. Only a cracked helmet.
Another helmet saved your life.
Yep. Another helmet saved my life. Thanks for the Giro.
Yeah.
Aries. Spherical design.
But how was your race experience in general?
Oh, overall, the race was awesome. It was a summerfest. Every single hill was miserable. Just trying to relax as much as possible.
But if you survived it, you finished.
I finished.
Good job, kid.
Thanks. Thank you. It was fun.
The race is over. 103 miles, 11,000 feet of elevation. I did it in 5 hours, 23 minutes. Non-stop. I never stopped during the race. Just once my buddy passed me a bottle of water from the car and that's it. I was just eating my gels. It was hard. It was a really dumb decision to race with 53.39 in the front and cassette 11.25, but it is what it is. I really enjoyed this race. It was a lot of fun. I mostly compete with myself. Tried to do this race in 5 hours. Well, almost. There was a lot of pit stops and the police blocked the crossroads for us so we could safely turn. It was really good. Once we finished, we went to inside the school. They have a lunches for everyone. It was delicious. So right now it's time to return back to home. Luckily we're not far away, just 1 mile. Really want to take a warm shower and to go to the jacuzzi. That's the plan for today. To relax and chill. Thanks everyone. I hope you enjoyed, guys, and I see you next time.